Thank you, Salt Lake City Council, to all of our employees, and to any of you watching at home. I never would have imagined that the first budget speech of my administration would be given from my backyard to each of you in your living rooms, at your kitchen table, maybe even in your kids' playroom. But although many things are acutely different today than they were just a few months ago, our city is still full of innovative, caring, collaborative, and really persevering people. You reassure me every day that we are going to make it through this challenge, and we will be made stronger by what we overcome together in the months and years ahead. In working with our departments and divisions on this year's budget, we relied on the best available historic information and current economic projections to determine revenue and expenses. Though we had to quickly reshape and reimagine the timing of many initiatives, this budget reflects the 3 priorities I set out in my 2020 plan: harnessing our growth for the good of all our residents, leading the way on resilience and stewardship, and creating inclusive and equitable opportunities for all. Thanks to a robust economy and good, long-standing fiscal leadership, our city was in a very good place when I came into office. At the start of the last fiscal year, our state as a whole was going on year 10 of an economic expansion, with one of the most diverse economies in the country. Salt Lake City residents continued to benefit from our incredible growth and economic diversity, resulting in a historic budget surplus in the last half of FY2020. Now, in the midst of swift change that has overwhelmed our world, we are fortunate to be in a position where we will not only endure, but evolve as a stronger community post-pandemic. While I had hoped to announce more exciting and innovative new projects with our budget surplus, this time calls for careful, deliberate planning with an emphasis on retaining our employees, continuity of services for our residents, and support of our communities. To ensure strong outcomes for Salt Lake City, we're taking strategic and conservative steps to protect our finances. To balance this budget, we projected the first 2 quarters of the 2021 budget using 2 guideposts. First, current trends in sales tax related to COVID-19. Second, historic revenue losses during the 2008 economic downturn. The state's COVID-19 Economic Response Task Force, comprising Utah's leading economic development and business leaders, prepared economic phase trajectory information estimating that by early to mid-June, Utah's economy is expected to be out of the urgent high-risk zone. They project that by the start of July, most industries in the state will be in a stabilization phase. And by mid-October, industry will be at the beginning of the full recovery and a new normal of risk. Based on this projection, we do not expect by the start of FY 2021 on July 1st that first quarter revenues will be equivalent to FY 20's. But by mid-second quarter and into the rest of the year, we anticipate seeing those revenues start to normalize and even return to increasing year over year. Our second guidepost is historic revenue loss during economic downturn, specifically 2008. Our third and fourth quarter projections were based on FY 2021 budgets pre-COVID, and we've asked that the City Council be willing to consider a significant mid-year budget amendment should we need to recalibrate at that time. In total, we're proposing a flat budget overall this year. We will maintain many of the current position vacancies through January. By being conservative, we are confident that we will be able to retain our city employees and maintain a 15% fund balance, up significantly from previous years. Our employees are our greatest asset. It's their work 365 days a year that most supports the day-to-day lives of our residents. In the face of this crisis, I couldn't be more proud of the people serving Salt Lake City. In an instant, our city team was called upon to stop doing things the way we know how to do them and to evolve their roles in a myriad of ways in order to keep themselves and the community safe. I'm so grateful that even in the face of very different revenue projections for the coming year, our city is in a position to maintain our employees without cutting salaries or benefits. As we continue to manage the risk of COVID-19 for the foreseeable future, our teams are learning and adapting their operations. And I have little doubt that these adaptations will make us more efficient and ready to respond, not just to future crises, but to the future itself. Our police department, fire department, and 911 have all been at the front line of this pandemic crisis and the string of earthquakes. Police and fire have modified their response models to protect themselves and the people they come in contact with, and 911 has changed their protocols for individuals with flu-like symptoms to ensure safer in-person responses by our teams. Our emergency management team has stepped up in ways really too numerous to recount, from coordinating with our county and state partners through not one, but 2 emergencies, to the logistics for collecting over 2,000 cloth mask donations from the public so far. Planning for adequate supplies for personal protective equipment for our emergency responders now and into the future is a critical priority, and we will not be caught unprepared, thanks to them. As COVID-19 made its way into the state, our waste and recycling team took immediate steps behind the scenes to ensure uninterrupted pickups without compromising safety or service. And even through a major earthquake, they kept 100% service consistency for our residents, and the team has stayed healthy as well. Clean drinking water continues to make its way to more than 360,000 people, thanks to the work of operators staffing our water treatment plants around the clock. And our water reclamation facility is participating with the University of Utah and Brigham Young University in testing for evidence of COVID-19 and other pathogens in the wastewater stream. Our city's IT staff took quick action to put the pieces in place for hundreds of city employees to work at home. And our finance team helped departments coordinate telecommuting agreements, develop modified work schedules, and processed payroll remotely, a first for this team. Similarly, behind the scenes, but just as critical, are our human resources and our legal teams, which stepped up to draft emergency proclamations and orders, determine new employee benefit and leave structures, parse through the fine print of federal guidance, and provide a steadying hand to all departments as we navigate this uncharted territory. In homes throughout our city and beyond, employees of Salt Lake City are answering their phones, processing permits, dreaming up new projects to open our city streets for recreation and beyond. Our city's departments and divisions are also working to alleviate some of the hardships faced by our residents and businesses during this time. The Department of Economic Development made quick work of developing a business impact survey that helped inform the creation of the Salt Lake City Emergency Loan Program, a $1 million fund for immediate relief for small and locally owned businesses in Salt Lake City. The department also helped coordinate alongside the Downtown Alliance and the Utah Restaurant Association on Tip Your Server, a grant program started by the generosity of Salt Lake City resident, business owner, and actor Ty Burrell and his wife, Holly Burrell. Thank you. To help its tenants and borrowers, the RDA issued rent waivers and extended a 90-day deferment of loan payments. Public utilities made the decision not to raise water, stormwater, or street lighting rates for the fiscal year. Our sustainability team initiated discussions with agencies around the state, city, and nonprofits to assess food access issues, particularly as more residents are facing reduced income from job loss, reduced work, or illness. They provided insight into gaps in the food delivery system and are now coordinating with my office and the community to implement solutions. In the coming year, this team will continue its vital work toward making sure every resident has access to healthy and affordable food. Our Youth and Family Services Division quickly operationalized staff and locations for 2 child care facilities to serve the children of critical healthcare workers, because equity and accessibility to quality youth programming is so essential to the health of our city. This division has worked hard to secure grant funding and new partnerships to expand our services into the northwest part of Salt Lake City, and we're excited to see that come to fruition this year. Our Urban Forestry Division is still well on its way to planting over 1,000 additional trees on our city's west side this year, and we hope you've been out toward Rosewood Park lately to check out the new trees there and along 12th West. Every single city department and division has brought their A game to this unprecedented, unpredictable, and constantly evolving situation. Our team is best in class. It is because of them that even with great changes to our world, the residents of our city are able to count on the services and infrastructure they've come to expect from us. Our city and its people are strong. We're in a financially stable place today thanks to previous growth, and I am working to make investments in areas that will help our city recalibrate and thrive. Thanks to the City Council's recent funding of a few key initiatives, we're preparing for recovery in a focused and equitable manner. First, we don't want to lose the momentum of our burgeoning tech ecosystem as we continue to focus on development of a tech corridor stretching from Warm Springs to the Fleet Block. We have been convening industry leaders to help us ensure that our growth is smart, leading edge, and brings the kind of jobs and investments that make our city stronger. And as we continue to push for the right kinds of new development, we're committed to doing it in a way that benefits all residents. To that end, we've secured funding for 2 guideposts along the path to recovery: a citywide equity plan and a gentrification mitigation plan. Thank you, City Council. While my administration was committed to these projects as I took office, a crisis like COVID-19 has magnified the areas in which we can improve. We have an opportunity in planning for our future to make it more equitable. The city's equity plan will be our true north, our point of orientation to ensure that when we communicate, make policy, programmatic, or financial decisions, those determinations are made with an understanding of how the outcomes will affect all people in our city. Our gentrification mitigation plan will guide us in creating policy to address the uprooting of residents and businesses in different neighborhoods as we continue to experience new growth and development. We will identify best practices to address this. As we move ahead, we must invest in our growth. Our diverse and thriving economy prepared us financially for this crisis, and our recovery will come from continued investment in diverse sectors in a way that aims to benefit every resident. The domino effect that COVID-19 has had in our world is profound and has amplified many of the issues facing our people, including housing insecurity. I'm proud of the work from our Housing and Neighborhood Development Department to provide relief and reassurance for people through rental and mortgage assistance, rapid rehousing, nonprofit and homeless resource center operations, and more. Combining dollars from the Housing Trust Fund, Funding Our Future, and the CARES Act, HAND has identified nearly $9.5 million that will be a critical source of housing stability as we mitigate and recover from this pandemic. Salt Lake City will also continue to see Funding Our Future projects come to life in 2020-21. This fall, we can expect construction to begin on the Folsom Trail, which will connect the Jordan River Parkway Trail with downtown Salt Lake City via a multi-use pathway. This is an idea 2 decades and 5 master plans in the making, which, when completed, will be a vital point of connection and recreation for our residents. Our bonded street construction projects and street maintenance will continue to move forward, providing large-scale repairs to some of the city's most deteriorated streets, and completing 155 lane miles of surface treatments that will ensure the longevity of our roadways. The city's Funding Our Future and Capital Improvements Program budgets will also be used to protect some of Salt Lake City's biggest assets, our buildings. They are a collective investment, and the importance of maintenance and care for these taxpayer-owned properties has never been more important than in the wake of a natural disaster. Salt Lake City's 5.7 magnitude earthquake was a wake-up call in many ways, highlighting the need for other areas of maintenance around the city. As a result, I'm proposing 2 allocations that help protect city operations and residents in future disasters. Allocating funds to upgrade critical IT backup servers that are housed in the Public Safety Building, and rehabilitating 2 of Salt Lake City's bridges that sustained damage on March 18th. If it wasn't already clear, Recent events have also shown us how vital access to our natural open spaces are to our residents. Salt Lake City's parks and trails have been used more than ever over the past few months. I am pleased to propose significant funding for 2 regional open space initiatives. First, I've allocated just over $500,000 for shovel-ready projects identified in the Foothill Trail System Master Plan. Our foothills are a regional recreation and environmental resource. They should be protected, developed, and accessible to all. Second, the city's recent acquisition of Allen Park, an environmentally and historically unique riparian pocket, calls for a robust stakeholder planning process to imagine its future as a destination art park for all our residents to enjoy. I've proposed funding in this budget to make that happen. When I took this position just a few months ago, there was no way to foresee that both an earthquake and a pandemic were in our near future. But thanks to the thousands of incredible city employees, the Salt Lake City Council, department and division directors, and my administration, we are in a stable place. It is a fortunate position to be in, and I'm optimistic that Salt Lake City will be able to continue that prudence as we weather this storm. This budget ensures we will continue to provide the high level of service our residents have come to expect and the jobs upon which our devoted employees rely on. While we're being pragmatic and judicious, this current crisis has not deterred us from big, bold ideas, and this budget still has plenty of them. The most important of which is making Salt Lake City a more equitable place for all. Thank you.